Good morning. This is Erica with Launching Legacies. Welcome to our daily devotional. We are continuing our devotional on lazy faith. Today is actually going to continue the passage from James chapter 2, and it's actually saying that we're not even talking about faith anymore. Now we're just talking about works. And so let me make the connection. Yesterday we talked about when a person wants to say that they are doing good, according to James, the second chapter, say that they have faith and then they don't have any works connected to it. And so we're reading from the Message paraphrase. We're in James second chapter, the 18th verse, and he says, so let me read the end of the 17th verse in this paraphrase. It says, isn't it obvious that God talk, meaning that's the faith talk, without God acts is outrageous nonsense, right? So we realize, okay, this is outrageous nonsense when we're saying that we have faith in God and there's no action behind it. And so chapter 2 verse 18 says, I can already hear one of you agreeing by saying, sounds good. You take care of the faith department and I'll handle the works department. Okay, and sometimes that's us. And it says, not so fast. You can no more show me your works apart from your faith than I can show you my faith from my works. Faith and works faith and works fit together hand in glove. So it says, do I hear you professing to believe in the one and only God? But then observe you complacently sitting back as if you had done something wonderful? That's just great. Demons do that. But what good does it do to them? Use your head. Do you suppose for a minute that if you can cut faith and works into two and not end up with a corpse on your hands? Wasn't it our ancestor Abraham who was made right with God by works when he placed his son Isaac on the sacrifice altar? It's obvious that faith and works are yoked partners, that faith expresses itself in works. Okay, and we're going to stop there. So what is this saying? Look, this is the paraphrase again from James, the second chapter, and I was reading all the way to the 23rd verse. But what is he saying? He's like, listen, some people say, okay, yes, I have great faith, and they do nothing. They just believe. And that and alone doesn't manifest anything. Again, it's like saying, I know that God's going to do something, but then you're never cooperating with him. And you get complacent is the word that he used in this paraphrase. And what is he saying? He's like, the same thing happens with people who think that they can just do works all the time without any faith. Well, work without faith doesn't have anything to do with God. And that's why he says, look at the demons say that. The demons know who God is, but they do whatever they want to do. So you haven't made it any further if you're just a busybody always working and getting stuff done and you're not doing things as are established by faith. In other words, there's an imbalance that's easy for us to get to, right? We can think that we can have faith and never do any work, or we can think that we are doing God's work and always working, and there's no faith a part of it. There's nothing that we're actually trusting God to do. And either place of these is the wrong place. So when we talk about working all the time, maybe manipulating situations, getting things to work in your favor, and you're not using faith, you're wrong. So if you're deceiving others, because there's a lot of that kind of behavior that happens, deceiving others, manipulating others, if you're lying to people, if you're trying to make things happen your way, then you're not using any faith, because faith doesn't use any deprived manner of getting what it desires. So if you find yourself in these inappropriate behaviors, then we can pretty much guarantee you've abandoned faith. Okay. And now you're relying on your own measures and your own things. And like the scripture says, the demons, they know that God exists. They just do whatever they want to. So what is it saying about you? Really, if you try to separate your works from your faith, then that's all they are. You just get what you get. It's not necessarily going to benefit you in any great way. And so here goes the trick. We have to recognize ourselves for ourselves. We have to see ourselves for where it's at. If we're trying to accomplish something great and we feel like God is supporting that thing that we believe in, that God is going to do something great in our life, heal us, give us promotion, give us a particular type of career, do whatever these things are, then great. But we need to move in that direction. On the other hand, if we start just moving and we're people of faith. People who say we believe in God, we trust in God. If we start just moving because we feel like we know what's about to happen next, and God hasn't even confirmed that, he hasn't given us any faith that that's what he's about to do, then we're moving in the wrong direction. And what happens when we're in the wrong direction in both of these places? Work without faith is dead, and faith without works is dead. And so we find ourselves in the place of death. I mean, where things that don't work out the way we want to. And it's interesting and peculiar to me because oftentimes I work with people who have developed a resentment towards God. They're angry about God, towards God, about something that they think hasn't gone as it was supposed to. And so what does that mean? If their stuff didn't go the way that it was supposed to, now they believe that it's God's fault. But we find out later, if we examine the situation, that they were either without faith, or over here, without faith, or without works. They just believed something and didn't do anything that was necessary for it. So for example, I have a doctorate. I have an earned doctorate, right? And my doctorate is in education. Okay, to get that doctorate, I couldn't just believe. When I started the program, I wasn't sure if I was supposed to. I'm like, okay, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to do this. So I spent a lot of time in prayer. And I heard God say, okay, you know what? It's okay for you to go ahead and progress in this program. And so I said, okay, I'm going to progress in the program, and I started to progress in the program. It required a whole lot of work. Doctorates are doctorates for a reason. You have to work hard, okay? You're going to be stretched beyond what you're normally used to. So I had to write more. I had to read more. I had to work in groups more. I had to work with professors that had different positions on things. I had to adjust myself, and it required a lot of sacrifice, a whole lot of sacrifice. Now, it would have made no sense for me to have asked God if I was supposed to be going to for this doctorate if I wasn't going to take what he said seriously, right? I had to commit myself to the work once I believed that he was telling me that that's what I should have done. And so I committed myself to the work, and I achieved the doctorate, right? Because he said that he was going to be with me on the journey, and I believed him. I did the work. I got the results. On the other hand, if I had just said, well, I'm going to get it, I know I'm going to get it, and I didn't work as hard as I had, I wouldn't have accomplished the goal. How do I know that that's true? Because there are many people who even started the program with me, who even were in the same area as me, and they felt the same way. Oh, I'm supposed to be getting this doctorate. And they didn't get it. They didn't finish. And is it because they heard wrong and they were never supposed to get the doctorate? It's a possibility, but more likely than the possibility, they found that the work was more than they were able to do at that time or willing to do at that time. And so when they decided they couldn't do the work, then their faith also went down and everything kind of fell apart. It's dead. It's dead. In the same manner, there are people who work extremely hard getting things, and when they get them, they're not happy with it. So I know some people in that situation as well. Some people who have earned degrees, earned doctorates, and they worked extremely hard. I know they did because I was working hard when I got mine. So they worked extremely hard to get their degree, and then they found themselves in a place in which they're like, you know what? I'm not happy with this. I don't know why I have this. Maybe I should have asked if I was supposed to pursue this degree. Maybe I should have asked if it was supposed to be something I was supposed to do. And at the end, they find themselves regretful because they did something within their works, which we can do, that had nothing to do with faith. And here we find ourselves in the same place, dead in the water. You have the degree, yeah, but it's dead. You don't care about it. It doesn't mean anything. There was nothing behind it that had any significant move for your life. And so there's a lot of ways for us to find ourselves in a place in which we have either neglected our faith or our faith has neglected us, in the sense that it hasn't worked out the way that we thought it was going to work out. And many people, when they get to that point, decide that they're frustrated with God. Oh, I'm so frustrated. I did all of this, or he told me this, and nothing worked out. Well, faith without works is dead. So he did tell you that. That part you did know, right? That part if you read James the 2nd chapter, that part you could have figured out. Why is it dead in the water? Well, because if you thought that you were just going to believe something without doing anything, you were short-sighted in that. It's almost like he says, Eugene Patterson is the author of the Message. He says it's almost like you're just outrageously ignorant in this place, right? You completely weren't thinking. Faith without works is dead. You got to do something. You can't earn a doctorate by just believing. You've got to do the work that's behind that. In the same manner, if you think you're just going to work, and that work is going to be the fulfillment of itself, you're wrong. You're going to find yourself wanting something more, trying to figure out what it is that you're really supposed to be doing. And some people never figure that out, and so they stay frustrated. So what's our key if we're looking at this as a devotional? What's the key for us? Well, for one, like I said before, be honest, right? Be honest about where you are in your faith journey. Be honest about what you're doing with the information that you feel God is giving you, or lack thereof. If you don't feel like God is compelling you to go in a particular direction, you want to seek Him until you do know, right? You want to make sure that you've got faith bolstered up so that your works are actually beneficial, right? Because faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Well, hope means that you're expecting something good, and an expectation usually comes with certain behaviors. So if you're not expecting good and working in the direction of that good, well, then faith without works is dead. That makes sense. I hope so. So we tell the truth. Once we tell ourselves the truth, then we adjust accordingly. If we find ourselves off balance in this way of we find ourselves believing anything that comes up because we just want something to believe in, that's great, but it won't get us very far. There's no works with it. On the other hand, if we find ourselves always working at something and then finding out later that it's not what we wanted to do anyway, then that is something. We have a great work ethic, but we need to add faith to it. We need to make sure that we hear, so that we find ourselves doing a work that has a benefit greater than our own hard work benefit, right? And so here goes, that is the dilemma. But I want to encourage you. We will be ending this devotional series today because I'll be taking a break tomorrow. I'll be out of town. But I want you to continue to think about what implications this means in your life, and how do you get yourself to a place of increasing your faith or increasing your work, and so that there's a balance between work and faith and works. You got to get that balance. That faith work balance needs to come into play so that you can find yourself delighted when God does what He says He's going to do, because you've contributed what you said you were going to contribute. And that's important. In addition to that, we hope that you are praying for us, because we are praying for you and we need your prayers. And so I bless you. I hope that you have a wonderful and blessed day. We won't see you tomorrow, but we'll see you on Friday with another of our devotionals. Until then, be blessed.